Hey guys, um, here we are again, back with my. Actually, how does that look? Um, well, it's getting a little dark over there, but whatever. Um, will that brighten it up? That brightens it up a little bit. Okay, so this is my website. It's called GaryProjects.com, and one of the projects that I have undergone, and I've been working on this for there was for about 3 or 4 months ago, for about a month solid, I worked on this project. And what I wanted to create was a definitive list of all horror movies. Now, um, I don't know what to say other than that. Um, it's kind of a one-stop shop for a complete library of all the best horror movies of all time. Why did I do this? Because you know how people love the top 10 horror movie. What are your top 10 uh, horror movies, or your movies of this year or that year or this decade, or this century or last century, or from the golden age, from the silver age, from the bronze age, ba 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 ba. What are your top horror movies, right? So I thought, what better thing to do than collect all of those top horror movies of all time into one place. Now, how do you do that? Well, you just keep adding lists and adding lists, and I went out onto the internet and I literally was looking at everybody's top horror movies, box office, top horror movies, right? Critically acclaimed top horror movies, and absolutely individual people's, right? Top horror movies, top horror movies, top just all over the internet, top horror movies. And what I did is I just created a spreadsheet, and then I copied it over to here. But I created a spreadsheet, and I just kept a list. Now, let me read what I've got written here. This project is designed to create a master list of horror movies, a definitive list of horror movies all in one place. A place you can send people that are just getting into horror, who want to discover the greats. It should ultimately contain nearly every movie from everyone's top 10 horror movies of all time lists. Literally. This should contain everybody's top 10 list, right? This list is currently under construction, and we're going to go through it here. And what I want is your suggestions and your feedback. Um, because if there's anything that should be taken off the list or added to the list, now, that I want everybody to, put in their 2 cents, right? If you have any suggestions, please email me the movie or movies you think should be added and or deleted here. So just a link to my contact part of the website. Um, this list is very long, so I've sorted it 2 different ways to make it easier for you to enjoy it. Sorted alphabetically, and then sorted by date. So release date. Now, I 100% absolutely guarantee no right this second that this list isn't perfect. It was extraordinarily difficult to create. Like I said, it took probably about a solid month of all my free time spent going through people's horror lists, top 10 lists of all time, and so on, and all over the internet. This website, that magazine, this YouTuber, this, Reddit user, and so on and so on. And these were this was the set of rules that I decided to narrowed down. I attempted to check my bias at the door, but Pandorum and Grave Encounters did squeak through. I know that people don't want them on the list, right? Greatest horror movies of all time. And I might take them off one day. I might. I might just say, well, okay, I'm a real minority, but hey, at least I'm honest. Can you identify any others? For the most part, my bias was kept in check because there are a lot of movies on the list I haven't even seen, and many I've seen and don't like. Things I considered when adding movies: box office. So, in other words, my bias, sometimes I pretty much checked it at the door, but a few squeaked through. Um, I considered all sorts of things: box office, critic and audience ratings, cult status, longevity, cultural impact, historical significance, advancements in horror, technical achievements, pioneering, etc. Really, I would consider everything. The genre of the movie must be horror first. Some exceptions will be made. For example, the Rocky Horror Picture Show is comedy first, but the movie is just too iconic to leave off the list, whereas Godzilla was not added because I don't consider it horror. Godzilla certainly deserves to be on a list, but not this one. I thought about Godzilla long and hard, and it's not a horror movie. It's not a horror movie. It just doesn't count. So Godzilla didn't make the list, but for example, the Rocky Horror Picture Show did. Now, I can't exactly 100% guarantee tell you. We could discuss this for a long time. What is horror and what is not horror? For the most part, I say it's got to be scary. That's pretty reasonable, right? It's got to be scary. But some scary movies aren't horror, and some horror movies aren't scary. But scary is part. I just think that we know it when we see it. And Godzilla, to me, is not horror. Now, maybe back in the day, a Godzilla movie, was horrific. Like, a great big monster walking through Japan. It's horrific, don't get me wrong. It's like, but war movies are horrific. Lots of things are horrific, but are they horror movies? And once you see the list, you will understand. But I just wanted to give a heads up that, like the Little Shop of Horrors did make the list. And Rocky Horror Picture Show did make the list, even though maybe they shouldn't be on the list. Maybe because they're not really horror. But now, neither of those were scary, but they have horror in the title, right? I know that sounds stupid, but they have horror in the title. And they were kind of in a horror setting. Whereas a big Godzilla monster, it's like, you could argue that to the ants on the ground, you walking to the corner store is horrific, is a horror. It's a horror movie to them, right? Because you're stepping on the ants and you're killing family members and you're injuring people all over the place, or ants all over the place, just walking to the store. So I don't know what to really say about that, right? Um, Other than I had to make up my mind, and like I said, if you just say that I'm an a-hole because I didn't, you know, of course Godzilla deserves to be on this list. Well, then put it in an email, and I might change my mind. But I've seen those old movies, and there's nothing scary about them. They're really cool, great, fantastic monster movies, but they're not horrific. They're not horror. I don't consider them horror. Um, if the movie is part of a franchise, the franchise will be included instead of the individual movie. Now, so each franchise of movies only gets added once. So, like Friday the 13th is added to the list, but only one time. And it is Friday the 13th, and that's the name of the franchise. And all of the movies are included. If so horror franchises, sequels, prequels, reboots and remakes and all the rest, they only get added one time. So if you wanted, so each, like there's just, if the movie is part of a franchise, then the franchise gets included on the list, not the individual movie. So each franchise only gets one spot on the list. There's lots of franchises in horror. Many, many, many franchises. Um, I have a line. Okay, so um, I have a line. Movies I find too extreme may be disqualified, for example. Salò or The 100 Days of Sodom. I did not include that here because it's horrific and it's really fucking gross, but honestly, this is just a legal snuff film. I guess soft core snuff, um, child pornography, and that crosses my line. I'm not interested in um, glorifying these types of things in any way. So if it crosses a line, then I don't include it. Now, what is the line? Again, it's hard to say. But I would say that anything that I consider just fantasy snuff or just, I don't know. I don't know, but I think that there's a lot of movies that just go too far, and they're not included here, and nor will I include them. They've gone too far. And generally, we all know, we're horror fans over here, we know what those movies are, and I don't, just because they are freaking you the fuck out by how extreme they are, and how, you know, that to me, I don't, like, for example, that one movie, 100 Days of Sodom. Um, is it even a good movie? The answer is no, it's not. The only reason it's on the list is because it went there. You know? Now, these children, certainly the children were played by, I think, from actors that were of age. But it doesn't matter, even if they were like 18 or 19 years old or what have you. It was just, no. I'm not gonna, I don't even want to rub up against it. You know what I mean? I just have no interest in that extreme, I've tried it. And by the way, that's the one that I tried. I've tried a couple of others. And, there's rubbing up against the line and then there's crossing it. And to me, for example, this movie crossed it, so it doesn't get included. But also, um, I might disqualify movies that I find too mild as well. For example, Goosebumps. I've never seen Goosebumps, to be honest. But if it's too kitty, 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 then it's not horror either. Scooby-Doo, that's not horror. I'm sorry, but it's not. Yeah, love it to death. And love it from, that was your horror when you were a kid. But it's not horror. Um, Nothing from the current year nor the previous 2 years. Now, I think I want to extend that to be the current decade because people go all brain dead. Their brains turn to mashed potatoes when they're talking about the newest movie, whether they are trying to push it for political reasons or just because they're all hyped up. Because, I remember people coming out of Halloween 2018 and they were literally saying it was the best thing ever. It's better than the original. So that type of craziness, I just don't want to have anything to do with. I don't want, I just don't want to screw up. I wouldn't want, and honestly, like I said, I might even go back further. Nothing from the past decade. It has to be 10 years old or older. Maybe. Just for that reason. Um, I'm glad you enjoyed that movie that you just saw, but does it really belong on this list? Maybe it will make the list in a few years. Chances are it's a remake or a sequel, so it's already on the list because um, its franchise is on the list. And yeah, that's the thing too. Like you just got finished seeing um, Doctor Sleep, and you just think it needed to be on the list. Well, it is already on the list because The Shining is on the list, and you have to put, like if one movie of a franchise is here, then the whole franchise gets included. And again, this is meant to be a comprehensive list for for you to link to anyone who is just getting into horror and is interested in just give me a master list of all the movies that you think I should see, the best horror movies ever made, and that's what this is for. An attempt will be made to choose at least one movie from each year. Yeah, I really wanted to go through year by year and just kind of at least include the top horror movie from each year, um, because I want it to be exhaustive throughout history, because horror trends and top horror changes, our moods change, but I don't think that should really affect the list too much. Once again, in the 2000s, there's too many movies, and there's not enough from Days Gone By, and this movie is not perfect yet. It's close, it's really good, but it's not perfect yet. So, let's go through it. Okay, so this is sorted alphabetically. So, for example, Rec is here. Just that square bracket puts it at the top. Rec. Now, it's not in order of importance. It's just in order of, alphabetical order. Um, from 2007. Now, um, that would also be the American remakes, Quarantine, and so on, and all the sequels to both. The whole franchise is there. So, Rec, 13 Ghosts, the remake as well. 1408. That one's kind of questionable. This is another, but, I don't know. Maybe it needs to go away. We'll see. 28 Days Later, the entire series. 30 Days of Night, a really fantastic horror flick. The Abdominal Dr. Fives. I put the over here just so I could sort it by this column in Excel. From 1971. I haven't even seen this movie yet, but everybody talks about it, so that's why it's here. Again, I haven't even seen all these movies myself. Alice, Sweet Alice, I haven't seen this one either. From 1976, I guess. Yeah. Alien. Here is because the first one is very horror. So the difference between this movie and Godzilla, you could say. Well, it really started off in the horror. Yes, it turned into action, but the first one is definitely a horror movie. The other ones are more action, I agree. But has there ever been an alien equivalent in Godzilla? Not to my knowledge. Godzilla isn't sneaking up on anybody and killing them, and you don't even really see the deaths. You just see um, you know, you don't really see it. Altered States. I haven't seen this movie either. American Mary, great modern horror movie. So one of the few. American Psycho, American Werewolf in London, Amityville Horror, the entire thing, Antichrist, April Fool's Day, Audition, Babadook, The Bad Seed, Basket Case. That was a fun. I loved that when I was younger. I just thought that movie was just so cool. It's crazy, kind of low budget crappiness, but still love it. A Bay of Blood, haven't seen it yet. The Beast with Five Fingers, haven't seen it. Beetlejuice. Now, here's a good example of maybe you would say, well, there's no scary pieces in Beetlejuice. Right, but he is undead and they're ghosts. It is comedy, but it's just so. All of the elements of other horror are just there. Like, it's a comedy horror. It's not even comedy, but there's just so many horror elements to it. Like all the evil faces and the dead, and technically he's a zombie or a spirit, and all this kind of stuff. By the way, if you ask me what movie needs a sequel, Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice needs a sequel. I would love to see Beetlejuice back again. I'd love it. Um, I'd like to see just a sequel to be. I would love to see more Beetlejuice. Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon, a great film if you haven't seen it yet, and it's just fantastic. The Beyond, The Birds, The Black Cat, Black Christmas. Oh, that recent 2019 one. See, I put movies on here that won't that I really hate. I despise. Like that remake in 2019 was beyond garbage. It was beyond bad. It was a political lecture in the worst way. Black Sheep, Black Sunday, Blade. Now, Blade is interesting, and again, he's a vampire. I get it. Maybe it does need to come off the list. But he is a vampire. Now, was there scary moments in the movie? I can't remember, to be honest. I think it was pretty much all action. Your comic book action, but a darker comic book action, but still. It didn't really get into the horror, but I put it on the list anyway. I made the decision. No, should it be here? Maybe not. The Blair Witch Project, The Blob, Bluebeard, Body Parts. That's a great flick too. I wonder if it's going to take me to. No, see, that's the problem when you use just regular. Um, See, they're not even giving you. This is why. There's too many. See, and another reason to do this. Wait. Oh, I haven't seen this movie. 1991? Yeah, I don't know what this is. I haven't seen it. This isn't what I thought it was at first, anyway. But, so, like, again, it's not all me. It's other people, too. Bordello of Blood, The Brood, Burnt Offerings, Chud, Cabin Fever, all of them. There's so many of them. I remember when the Cabin Fever came out, and then 2 years or something later, they did a remake. I mean, you just made this movie, and you're going to remake it already? But it was good. At least one of them was good. I can't remember. I think I enjoyed them. The Cabin in the Woods. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Sometimes cited as the number one or the first horror movie ever. Candyman. Cannibal Holocaust. Carnival of Souls. Carrie. The Cat and the Canary. Cat People. Changeling. Child's Play. Children of the Corn. Chopping Mall. Christine. Class of 1999. Cloverfield. Is that maybe needs to get deleted, right? Cloverfield? Is that a horror movie? It's kind of, but because it was smaller, yes, it's a big Godzilla monster movie-ish, but it was smaller and intimate, and we were seeing Like, remember when those fleas come down and they like really tear people apart, and they're going through the dark tunnels in the subway and stuff? I don't know. It's kind of like a more horror version of Godzilla. But does it belong on the list? Let me know. The Collector. I love that fucking movie. This is one of those movies that. And by the way, you just want to see how long this list is? Just look at all the C's, the letter C's, all the way down to there. This is a very big list. Hundreds, almost 400. And remember, one of these, like Child's Play, there's multiple movies in this. Multiple movies. Like there's, what, 10 Child's Play movies or something like that? I don't know what I'm going to do with the TV shows. I might, whatever. What I'm going to do with this list is a secret. I just want to make it created first. Children of the Corn, Christine, class of 1999. Cloverfield, The Collector, The Conjuring. Wow, is that ever a big franchise already? It's making the money. Is it that great? It's good, but I don't know. I think people are just so desperate. There's nothing else to watch, right? So you watch the best of what's there, but I don't think that this is as good as other horror movies, but whatever. It's still a big franchise, and I had to include it on the list. Constantine, maybe not. Maybe that one should be taken off. Is it like one of the gems? The Crazies, The Creature from the Black Lagoon, Creepshow. Creepshow is one of those movies where I just freak out. Again, the link to this list is down below. Share the link with your friends or what have you. Get them to offer their own input. Creepshow. And there's a link to it from my front page over on the right, down a little bit. Creepshow. I love, something? Those segments, I think there was 4 segments. Cockroaches, Happy Birthday, the I don't know, Tasmanian Devil, and Drowning. And then the wraparound story. So, I fucking loved this. And guess what? I don't think any of those segments are very good. Listen up, horror people out there on the whatever. Horror people makers. People making horror. None of these segments were good. My favorite, I think, was the cockroaches. My second favorite was the drowning. Oh, wait, no, there was space poop, too. But none of them were great. So a couple of them were okay, and the rest were kind of bad. But I still love this movie. Love it. Do this. Do more of it. That's what you do. You get kooky, looky, wooky, dooky with horror. Don't worry about if it's great, because you're just zooming on to the next one, and then wrap it around in a comic strip. Fucking perfect. But I'm sure all the sales and all the copyright and the intellectual properties and the suing this and suing that, it's probably gotten crazy out of hand. Creepshow. Loved it. Critters. I've never seen a Critters movie. I should now, because actually I tried to watch Gremlins. The original movie a little while ago, and I couldn't get through it. It was too kooky. Something was up. Maybe I was in a bad mood or something. But Gremlins lost its magic for me. But back in the day, I loved it. I loved it with everybody else at the time. It was the best thing ever at the time. I was exactly there with you. I don't know, it's lost its magic for me now. But because I loved it back in the day, Ghoulies and Critters got kicked to the curb. I was like, what are these fucking trying to copy my Gremlins? I don't fucking think so. So I ignored them. Completely deleted them. Now, I will say that Gremlins 2 kind of really shit the bed. Now, some people say that you should watch Gremlins 2 again because it's actually really good, but I don't know. Um, I don't know about that. Anyway, so it certainly made the list. Gremlins will probably. I don't know if Gremlins made it or not. Kronos. I don't even know what that is really. The Crow. Cube. Fantastic little. This is. I love this type of horror movie. You wake up in a box and you gotta figure out the puzzle and survive. Cujo. That was all just to seize, right? How many was it? Like 65? 38 to 65. That's how long this list is, folks. The Dark Half, Dark Man, Dead Alive, Dead of Night, The Dead Ring or Dead Ringers, Dead Silence, The Dead Zone, Deep Red, Deep Rising, Deep Star 6. And if you don't know which year I'm talking about, or if there's multiple, which there is oftentimes, there's the year, right? Deep Star 6, Demon Knight, The Descent, The Devil Doll, The Devil's Advocate, The Devil's Backbone, The Devils. That must be from a long time ago. Le Diabolique. I forget how do you say that word. Le Diabolique. It's a French word. Diabolical is the English. Disturbing Behavior, Dog Soldiers, Don't Breathe. That might have to go. Again, it's swaying a little bit modern because that's how the internet, all the lists that I was collecting, they're obviously kind of modern. Because when you ask somebody in 1950 what their top 10 horror movies were, it wasn't recorded, right? So I do have to sort of eject some of the newer ones, and then and the other list is sorted by year, and you're going to see it's too weighted in the new, and that needs to be fixed. But we've got to get her done. Don't Look Now, Dr. Cyclops, Dr. Giggles, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Dracula, Dressed to Kill, Duel, Eden Lake, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. I do miss her. You can say what you want about my political views, but, Elvira, she was just like that. Vampirella, I think it was Vampirella, or Vampira, Vampirella, who didn't last very long. And then, what's her face? From the Addams Family. And then Elvira. And her campy, the boobs out. You would think that I would think that this is terrible, but it was so campy and over the top. Yes, but you know what I mean? She's making fun of it. Whatever you think of her, I don't even know what the SJWs would think of her. Is it stunning and brave? Because she's a slut? Or is she just, male gazy? Boobs out, male gazy? Like, there's no rhyme or reason to what they say or do. I think they just want everything ugly. So I have a feeling they would probably hate Elvira. They would, even though she's her own woman and she's super strong and independent, sort of. Like, in this movie anyway, she's doing the show like the regular, in the, her jig. But then it zooms out, and then she's in a business, and the business isn't doing so hot. So that's why, and then she gets the letter or whatever, the phone call from, hey, do you want all the money? Then go here. And then that's how the movie starts. But I don't know. She's very, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know if the friggin'. See, this is what I hate about the politics. So that's why in this instant, I don't care. It's so mushy. It's kind of all sides, and it's just trying to be a good movie. It's funny, it's fun, it's camp, it's kind of crazy, kooky looky, right? And I think that's fantastic. It's fantastic. Now, you know, of course, I guess, an evangelical Christian would look at something like that and go, no. But it's just about having some fun with the big boobs and like it's really over the top. Like, what does she do? She breaks out of jail with her boobs? I mean, just puts her boobs between the thing and then what? I don't know. Puffs them up and then she breaks out of jail with her boobs. Like, I mean, that's amazing. Like that, and even the Christian lady in the film, who ends up, I get it. It's maybe a little bit, but I don't know. If this, if all leftism was like this kind of campy, like I was trying to think of All in the Family, that is really leftist propaganda, but it was just done so well, and it was done from both sides. It wasn't one-sided, and it was kind of done in a fun way and a meaningful way. He was still a good guy. See, that's the thing. Is when you label somebody a Nazi and a racist today, you're canceling them. Archie Bunker, was still a good guy. He loved his family. He was fucking paying for the lefty hippie bum, right, to stay in the house, who was eating all the food, you know. End of Days. This is a forgotten movie, and maybe it's because it wasn't that good. Maybe I should take it off. But again, it kept appearing on people's lists, and I don't know if it should even really be there. The Entity. So, an often skipped over horror movie, but anyway, let's continue. Eraserhead and Event Horizon, The Evil Dead, The Exorcist, of course, and The Evil Dead. Eyes Without a Face. The Faculty, The Fall of the House of Usher, The Faust, Final Destination, Firestarter. I don't know, maybe that one should be taken off. I don't know. Flatliners, Flowers in the Attic, The Fly, The Fog, Frailty, Frankenstein, Freaks, Friday the 13th. And again, all the Friday the 13th are included here. Everything, as long as it's directly associated with if it's in the same franchise, then we're good. Fright Night, The Frighteners, From Beyond, From Dusk Till Dawn, From Hell, The Funhouse, Funny Games, Ganja, and Hess. The Gate. Now, here are some super, super, super mega old movies. Okay? Extremely old. Even before what some people call the first horror movie, but they're here. Because technically, one would say that these are the first horror movies ever made. So that's a very culturally significant, right? Now they're only like 1 minute long each, but it's still, I don't know how long they're. They're extraordinarily short, but they're there. Get Out, Ghost in the Machine, The Ghost Ship, Ghost Story, Ghostbusters. Now here's one. I took some liberties and put it there. I know it's a comedy, but that opening scene was a little bit on the scary side in the library. And it is ghosts, right? I don't know, I took liberties. Maybe I should put Godzilla on the list. Maybe I'm wrong to leave it out, but I just don't, consider it worthy of horror, being on a horror list. Ghosts of Mars, Ghoulies. Oh, well, it's here, even though, whatever. The Gift, Ginger Snaps, Grave Encounters. There's my crappy entry. Graveyard Shift, Gremlins. Should this be on the list? Well, if you don't think so, let me know. Grindhouse, The Grudge, The Guardian, Halloween, The Hands of Orlac, Hangover Square, um, Hardware, Hatchet, The Haunting, Pasu, Haxan, Hellraiser, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, High Tension, Hideaway, The Hills Have Eyes, The Hitcher, The Host, Hostel, Hour of the Wolf, House, House by the River, House of a Thousand, House of, I wonder if it's House of Thousand Corpses? I'm sure it's I don't know. Did I spell that wrong? House of 1,000 Corpses. It's not There you go. I got it right. Huh. What the heck. House of the Dead, The House of the Devil, House of Wax, House on Haunted Hill, The House on Sorority Row, The Howling, The Human Centipede, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Hunger. I Know What You Did Last Summer, I Walked with a Zombie, Identity, Idle Hands, In the Mouth of Madness, The Incredible Shrinking Man, Innocent Blood, The Innocents, Insidious, Interview with a Vampire, uh, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Invisible Man, and by the way, it's always the first in the franchise. That's the name. That's the title that it would be, and the year would always be the first one. The Invisible Man, um, Island of Lost Souls, It, Jacob's Ladder, Jaws, Jeepers Creepers, Jennifer's Body, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. There's another one that you could make another one of. Yeah, I would like to see another one of those. And it took me forever to see it. It really, I avoided this movie. I was like, it looks too dumb. I don't really do that kind of dumb, like that's super dumb. But it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad people kept putting it on their lists. People kept bringing it up and talking about it, right? So I finally said, okay, let's do this. The Kindred, Lake Placid, The Last Broadcast, The Last House on the Left. That one is borderline, right? Remember I said that some films can just go too far? The Last House on the Left is certainly that's right on the line. I included it on this list, but I don't know. The Lawnmower Man, The Legacy, The Legend of Hell House, The Leopard Man, Leprechaun, Let the Right One In, Leviathan, Life Force, Little Shop of Horrors, The Lodger, Lord of Illusions, The Lost Boys, The Lost Souls, The Loved Ones, The Man Who Laughs, Man's Best Friend, Maniac, Maniac Cop, Martyrs, Mary Riley, Mask of the Red Death, Maximum Overdrive. Maximum Overdrive is a highly underrated film. Um, I really like it. I know, like, am I the only one? You know, this is one of my guilty pleasures, if you will. People keep calling it really bad, you know, and I like it. Maximum Overdrive. I don't know, it's just one of those. You know, that's a Stephen King film that Stephen King directed, and everybody said, oh my God, you did such a bad job. And here I'm going, I kind of liked it. Hold on a sec. I'll be right back. Right? Am I not right? Am I wrong about Maximum Overdrive? I love that film. What is, you're not alive, you're not, I forget what she's screaming. I used to have that to heart. You're not alive, you're not human, you're not a person. Something along those lines. You're not alive, or you're not supposed to be alive. And she's just freaking out, and then she gets squished. I think she gets killed. May. I don't know about that one again. Messiah of Evil, Mimic, Misery, The Mist, Monkey Shines, Monster Squad, Motel Hell, The Mummy, Mute Witness, The My Bloody Valentine, Near Dark, Needful Things, Night of the Comet, Night of the Creeps, Night of the Demons, The Night of the Hunter, Night of the Living Dead, Nightwalker, Nightbreed, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Nosferatu, The Omen, Open Water, The Order, Orphan, The Orphanage, The Others, Pandorum, Paranormal Activity, Peeping Tom, The People Under the Stairs, Pet Cemetery, Phantasm, um, The Phantom Carriage, The Phantom of the Opera, Phantoms, Piranha, The Pit and the Pendulum, Pitch Black, Poison, Poltergeist, Pontypool, Prince of Darkness, Prom Night, The Prophecy, Psycho, Pulse, Pumpkinhead, The Puppet Master, The Purge. You know how I haven't seen all these. You know that I'm not. I generally don't watch a lot. I really don't. Um, I'd rather watch people talk about their most favorite horror films than watch one myself these days. I don't know. I do, like I'll still put one on. I'm not afraid to watch a movie or anything, but I'd rather just hear people talk about them. And it's unfortunately that, the political infiltration in pretty much everything, um, um, has made everybody sort of, even if they didn't want to, have to talk about the politics. Because, I mean, you can't just skip over the elephant in the room. But unfortunately, just everybody made their politics clear, and then I had mostly say goodbye. And it has to be a reasonable, like, I don't know. There's just some. I guess it is that some people just like stuff that is just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I don't know. When you come out and you just love Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 to an extreme degree, just, oh, I love that film. What are you talking about? Are you just being a contrarian? You're just gonna like stuff because other people don't? And you better be, I mean, it's just not a good movie. People, a couple of horror YouTubers kept saying that they liked it. So I was like, okay, I'll try to watch it again. And no, I like halfway through the movie. The first part is amazing. I love the hospital part. Love it. Absolutely love it. But then they screwed up Dr. Loomis, and then Laurie was a raving bitch, and then the horses and the fucking Pumpkinhead imagination shit. I was like, oh, so yeah, of course you have to have your wife in every single movie. So she had to be brought back for this one. So you had to just create something. You pulled something out of your butt, and it was bad and stupid, and it didn't fit the lore. And then Michael said die, and uh, but I would say that who was it? Not Laurie. Laurie's friend who got attacked in the first movie and got killed in this one. who was played by, I don't know, what's her name? The one who took over for, I don't know, Laurie Strode in those movies, in the earlier sequel. Anyway, um, that death scene and then the father finding her was fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. Loved it. There was elements, but it was just, the rest was just so, oh my God, what are we doing here? The first one was okay, you know. I didn't hate the um, nurture versus nature thing as much as most people did. There was a lot of people who um, there was a lot of people who hated the um, nature or the nurture over nature. You know, like he was supposed to be a thing of evil, but then um, Rob Zombie kind of made it sort of like he comes from a bad family. That's why he became a murderous psycho. But it, by the way, here's one thing that people don't think about. Maybe he was evil by nature, and the nurture part, the shitty family, the white trash family, just pushed him over the edge. Maybe it activated the thing. You know, maybe his evil would have stayed dormant, but then he came out. But see the way he, I don't know. And like I said, I didn't love the nurture part, but I didn't hate it as much as most people. I didn't. I thought that, you know, just like Jar Jar Binks in the prequel Star Wars prequels, I think he got over hated. I think Batman v Superman got over hated too much. Some people go. It's like there's somebody out there that I listen to quite regular, another horror YouTuber, um, who over who says it very very well, that people are they either give it a 10 out of 10 or a 0, and there's no in between. So like a Batman v Superman, people were giving it a 0 and it didn't deserve a 0. The prequels, or Jar Jar Binks, that character, that cartoon fishy, you know, froggy dummy character, um, he was not as bad as people said. It wasn't on the par with the sort of companions in the first movie or in the original trilogy. I get it. Would I pick Jar Jar or the Jar Jar people or the Ewoks? Um, I don't know. I think they're kind of similar. They're not as good as your R2 or C3PO or your Chewbacca, but they're not that bad. They're okay. I don't know. They're just like I give them both a 5 out of 10, not 0. You know, maybe I give the Ewoks a little bit more. And kind of, by the way, the Ewoks and those fish underground fish people, whatever they were, I don't know the race. Um, they were very similar, right? Kind of primitive. It was kind of a remake. They were kind of primitive, but one were little titty bears and the other ones were fish people. That could come out. That could come on land. You know, but well, actually, no. I guess the fish people had some pretty cool technology with their force fields and stuff. But whatever. Okay, let's continue. Where were we? The Pit and the Pendulum. What, did we scroll down? Anyway, I'm gonna go back and the Pit and the Pendulum, the Pitch Black. Pitch Black. I fucking love that movie. It's too bad the sequels were crap. Triple X, I believe it was. But Pitch Black, that movie, oh my God, beautiful. Loved it. Poison, Poltergeist, Pontypool, Prince of Darkness, Prom Night, The Prophecy, Psycho, Pulse, Pumpkinhead, Puppet Master, The Purge. The Queen of Spades, Queen of the Damned, Raven, Reanimator, The Reaping, The Relic, Repulsion, Resident Evil, Return of the Living Dead, The Ring, The Rocky Horror Picture Show, Rosemary's Baby, The Ruins, Salem's Lot, Santa Sangre? I don't know what that is. Saw, Scanners. Let's look it up. 1989. It's probably a foreign film of some sort. No? I don't know. I've never heard of this. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I don't know. Again, this was trying to collect everybody's movies. Saw, Scanners. Maybe it needs to be deleted. I don't know. Scanners, Scared to Death, Scream, Screamers, Seven, See No Evil, The Serpent and the Rainbow, The Seventh Sign, The Seventh Victim, Shadow of the Vampire, Shaun of the Dead, The Shining, Shocker, The Silence of the Lambs. Now, this one was technically Red Dragon came out first, but we got to be honest. You know, this is I play. There's no doubt. It's not a perfect science. It is movies and art, after all. Red Dragon did come out first, but it was kind of a dud of a movie. And The Silence of the Lamb was so super mega huge in every way that, let's be honest, the only reason anybody watched Red Dragon is because of Silence of the Lambs. They watched Silence of the Lambs and then they went back to watch Red Dragon. So, Silence of the Lambs put Hannibal on the map by, 1,000 to 1, right? Silent Hill, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Silver Bullet, Sinister, Sisters, The Sixth Sense, The Skin I Live In, Sleepaway Camp, Sleepwalkers, Sleepy Hollow, Slither, Sorcerers, Species, The Spiral Staircase, Spirits of the Dead, Split Second, Stay, The Stepfather, Stigmata, Stir of Echoes, The Strangers, The Stuff, Suspiria, A Tale of Two Sisters, Tales of the Dark Side, the movie, Tales from the Hood, Tales of Terror, Teen Wolf, The Tenant, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I chose to spell it correctly here. Maybe I should change that up. Probably not. Let's be honest. It was a spelling mistake in the original movie. Yeah. Normally I stick with the original, but I think I'm gonna leave it spelt correctly. Theater of Blood, Them, They Live, The Thing from Another World, Thinner, Three Extremes, The Tingler, Tourist Trap, Toxic Avenger, Train to Busan, Transylvania 6-5000, Tremors, Trick or Treat, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, Twilight Zone the movie, Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me, Underworld, Urban Legend, VHS, Vacancy, Valerie and her Week of Wonders, Vampires, Vampire, The Vanishing, Videodrome, Village of the Damned, Virus, Visiting Hours, The Vulture, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, What Lies Beneath, When a Stranger Calls, The White Reindeer, White Zombie, The Wicker Man, Wishmaster, The Witch, The Witches of Eastwick, Wolf Creek, The Wolfman, Wrong Turn, and Zombieland. So what do you think of this list? You know, it needs work. Is Driller Killer on here, for example? Nope. See, I've already seen one. Driller Killer should be on here. You know, like it needs work. Some need to come off and some need to go on, but I was hoping, by the way, I haven't gotten any feedback on this. So, you know, try to get some feedback going. Because honestly, like having a good one comprehensive list, you can just copy and paste this to your own, you know, Facebook or, you know, social media or whatever. It's just a list of movies. Why not have a spot where a comprehensive list of all the best of the best of the best in horror exists, right? So that was alphabetically, but now I think a more reasonable way of looking at these movies is by year, right? By date. I didn't put month. I don't care about the month. The year is good enough. So these early movies, and then The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, Phantom Carnage. Again, see one from each year? Trying to anyway. Nosferatu, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Hands of Orlac, Phantom of the Opera, Faust, The Cat and the Canary, The Man Who Laughs, Haxan. Now, again, maybe I need to beef up these early years. You know, go ask what's his face, James Rolfe from the Angry Video Game Nerd to take a look at this list. Because, by the way, his movies are here. When he went through all of his lists, I put them on here. I went to everybody. James Rolfe from the Angry Video Game Nerd has made his top horror movie lists. He broke it up by the Golden, Silver, and Bronze Age. And I think he may have done a modern one as well. He's really into horror, like like the rest of us. He just he's been doing the video game thing. Um, huh. I don't know what he likes more, to be honest with you. Horror movies or video games. Maybe video games. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, The Cat and the Canary, The Man Who Laughs, Haxan, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Dracula, Frankenstein. So again, each of these are only. Where's the Invisible Man? Oof, that's a problem. Freaks, Island of Lost Souls, The Mummy, Vampire, White Zombie. Oh, there it is. The Invisible Man. See, all of the classics, right? Hey, I'm getting them. And all of their sequels are included. Now, a thing like Dracula, you know, like there's even a Frankenstein. It was called Pieces, a movie called Pieces, a horror movie that was kind of like a Frankenstein. Somebody chopping people up and then sewing them together. Um, well, actually, I kind of spoiled the movie. I don't like doing that, but anyway. Um, but I wouldn't call it Frankenstein just because you sew dead body parts together. I'm not going to call it a Frankenstein movie. It's the same theme. It's the same kind of idea. That would be like every possession movie is I don't know, an Exorcist movie, and probably Exorcist isn't even the first. So, but if there's a vampire in the movie called Dracula, then it's part of it. I got Dracula 5000 or something like that because I don't. Maybe I should delete it and put it in with the Dracula, but I didn't. I don't know. Again, you got some ideas, put them in the list, or give me an email, shoot me an email. The Black Cat, the Raven, the Devil Doll, Doctor Cyclops, the Wolfman, Cat People, the Ghost Ship. I Walked with a Zombie, The Leopard Man, The Seventh Victim. See how we're trying to hit every year? I guess from 37, 38, 39 I missed. But maybe there was not much going on there. We'll see, right? It's a list in in the making. The Leopard Man, the seventh victim, Bluebeard, The Lodger, um, Dead of Night, Hangover Square, The Beast with Five Fingers, The Spiral Staircase, Scared to Death, The Queen of Spades, House by the River, The Thing from Another World. Now, should I have called this The Thing? Because with the Silence of the Lambs, I switched it up. But maybe I should call this one The Thing? Because, but was The Thing from Another World a significant movie? I don't know. Maybe I'd have to look into it a little bit more. How did it do at the box office? What kind of, was it really a long-lasting horror movie? Or was The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, the movie that made this movie a big thing? It's weird. The White Reindeer, House of Wax, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Them, the Diabocal, whatever. The Night of the Hunter, The Bad Seed, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Incredible Shrinking Man, The Blob, The Fly, House on Haunted Hill, The Tingler, 13 Ghosts, Black Sunday, Eyes Without a Face, The Fall of the House of Usher, Little Shop of Horrors, Peeping Tom, Psycho, Village of the Damned, The Innocents, The Pit and the Pendulum, Carnival of Souls, Tales of Terror, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, The Birds, The Haunting, Mask of the Red Death, The Nightwalker, Repulsion, The Sorcerers, The Vulture, Hour of the Wolf, Night of the Living Dead, Rosemary's Baby, Spirits of the Dead, Valerie and Her Week of Wonders, The Abominable Mr. Phibes, A Bay of Blood, Devils, Duel, The Last House on the Left, The Crazies, Don't Look Now. I don't think I put I Spit on Your Grave here. The Crazies, Don't Look Now, The Exorcist, Ganja and Hess, The Legend of Hell House, Messiah of Evil, Sinister, or Sisters, Theater of Blood, The Wicker Man, Black Christmas, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Deep Red, Jaws, The Rocky Horror Picture Show, Alice Sweet Alice, Burnt Offerings, Carrie, The Omen, The Tenant, Eraserhead, Hasu, The Hills Have Eyes, House, Suspiria, Halloween, Piranha, Alien, The Amityville Horror, The Brood, The Legacy, Phantasm, Salem's Lot, Tourist Trap, When a Stranger Calls, Altered States, Cannibal Holocaust, The Changeling, Dressed to Kill, The Fog, Friday the 13th, Maniac, Motel Hell, Prom Night, The Shining, An American Werewolf in London, The Beyond, The Funhouse, Ghost Story, The Howling, My Bloody Valentine, Scanners, Basket Case, Creepshow, Poltergeist, Visiting Hours, Christine, Cujo, The Dead Zone, The Entity, The House on Sorority Row, The Hunger, Sleepaway Camp, Twilight Zone the Movie, Videodrome, Chud, Children of the Corn, Firestarter, Ghostbusters, Ghoulies, Gremlins, Night of the Comet, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Toxic Avenger, Fright Night, Life Force, Reanimator, Return of the Living Dead, Silver Bullet, The Stuff, Teen Wolf, Transylvania 65000, April Fool's Day, Chopping Mall, Critters, From Beyond, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, The Hitcher, Maximum Overdrive, Night of the Creeps, The Evil Dead, Flowers in the Attic, The Gate, Hellraiser, The Kindred, The Lost Boys, Monster Squad, Near Dark, Prince of Darkness, The Stepfather, The Witches of Eastwick, Beetlejuice, Child's Play, Dead Ringers, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Maniac Cop, Monkey Shines, Night of the Demons, Pumpkinhead, The Serpent in the Rainbow, The Seventh Sign, They Live, The Vanishing, Deep Star 6, Leviathan, Pet Cemetery, The Puppet Master, Santa Sangre, Shocker, Class of 1999, Darkman, Flatliners, Graveyard Shift, The Guardian, Hardware, It, Jacob's Ladder, Misery, Nightbreed, Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, Tremors, Body Parts, People Under the Stairs, Poison, Silence of the Lambs, Candyman, Dr. Giggles, The Innocent, Innocent Blood, The Lawnmower Man, Sleepwalker, Split Second, Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, The Dark Half, Dead Alive, Ghost of the Machine, Leprechaun, Man's Best Friend, Needful Things, Kronos, The Crow, Interview with a Vampire, Demon Knight, Hideaway, In the Mouth of Madness, Lord of Illusions, Mute Witness, The Prophecy, Seven, Species, Tales from the Hood, Bordello of Blood, The Frighteners, From Dusk Till Dawn, Mary Riley, Scream, Screamers, Thinner, Cube, The Devil's Advocate, Event Horizon, Funny Games, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Mimic, Wishmaster, Blade, Deep Rising, Disturbing Behavior, The Faculty, the Last Broadcast, Phantoms, Urban Legend, Vampires, Audition, The Blair Witch Project, End of Days, Idle Hands, Lake Placid, The Sixth Sense, Sleepy Hollow, Stigmata, Stir of Echoes, Virus, American Psycho, Final Destination, The Gift, Lost Souls, Pitch Black, Shadow of the Vampire, What Lies Beneath, The Devil's Backbone, From Hell, Ghosts of Mars, Ginger Snaps, Jeepers Creepers, The Others, Pulse, 28 Days Later, Dog Soldiers, Frailty, Ghost Ship, May, Queen of the Damned, Resident Evil, The Ring, Cabin Fever, High Tension, House of a Thousand Corpses, House of the Dead, Identity, The Order, The Relic, A Tale of Two Sisters, Underworld, Wrong Turn, Grudge, The Grudge, Open Water, Saw, Shaun of the Dead, Constantine, The Descent, Stay, Three Extremes, Wolf Creek, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, Black Sheep, Hatchet, Hostel, See No Evil, Silent Hill, Slither, Wreck, 1408, 30 Days of Night, Dead Silence, Grindhouse, The Host, The Mist, The Orphanage, Paranormal Activity, The Reaping, Trick or Treat, Vacancy, Cloverfield, Eden Lake, Let the Right One In, Martyrs, The Ruins, The Strangers, Antichrist, The Collector, The House of the Devil, The Human Centipede, Jennifer's Body, Loved Ones, Orphan, Pandorum, Pontypool, Zombieland, Insidious, Grave Encounters, The Skin I Live In, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, American Mary, The Cabin in the Woods, Sinister, VHS, The Conjuring, The Purge, The Babadook, The Witch, Don't Breathe, Train to Busan, and Get Out. And again, I ended at 2017. No 2018 because it was not 2 years old. Okay, I gotta go grab something to eat. Thanks for joining me. I guess I should have done this at the beginning. Say hello. Gotta remember to say hello. And yeah, it's like when I pull up the chat window, nobody comes to chat. And when I don't pull up the chat window, that's when they do come to chat. So I don't get it. But anyway, yeah, if you have any suggestions about that list, again, go to my website And over here on the right hand side, this is click on the image, and then it brings you to here, and then it's sorted two ways. And I'm just going to keep updating it until I think I'm happy with the end result, and then I'm just going to lock it in. Now each year I think, but anyway, it's just, I guess it's going to be a forever list. And if there's movies that, and remember, I would like to, if you suggest one, also suggest taking one away, because we can't just keep adding to the list, because then it's going to be a list of all the horror movies. So, and I do think at the moment a lot needs to be removed, but which ones, right? Again, try, like read the, I've got the rules that I've got going here, the ones that kind of made sense for me, um, and yeah, sorted alphabetically and then sorted by date. Would love your suggestions or your, your ideas. So, yeah, let me know. Contact right here, right? And shoot me off an email. Okay? Anyway, we'll talk to you later. Okay, bye now.